So first up, we have skating in the black. There we go, 0-0-0, Gem Arug. 1-0-8 is Suffocate. Number 12 is Alf. 13 is Blocking J. 1-5-2 is Fran Solo. 16 is Tornado. 1-8-3-7 is Pucker Up. Number 2 is Damdria. 21 is Rocks and Roll. 300 Greek Frightening. 42 the Atkins Riot. 58 Buckland. 72 Catastrophe, and 911 is Crash Call.
And Granite City playing in the till is going to be 1-2 Kaylee Kapowski, 2-3-0 Lara Craft, 2-7 Unfairly, 3-0 Wackery Binks, 3-6 Fanny, 4-0-7 Joe Mama, 5 Tequila Slam Her, 5-8-9 Bex Rated, 6-4 Skeevy Wonder, 9-1-3 Mean Machina, and that is Granite City.
So we're less than a minute away from the start of this game. You can see our officials already there. Massive thanks to them for giving up their weekend and for all the hard work they've put in so far this season to help make the British Championships happen up and down the country.
Yeah, there has been more than 200 games this season to get us to this point, with 74 teams entering with the season February to August. This Tier 3 WFTDA side game is about to begin.
So we've got jammers on and around that radar sponsored line. Jamming for Nottingham Roller Derby is Tornado, and we'll probably just have to hang on a couple of moments until we can specify the jammer for Granite City, as they are incredibly low and we can't see their back.
That is Joe Mama,
who
was going for a start all the way back on turn 4. But it is very quickly Nottingham that picks up lead.
Yeah, Tornado through after taking a couple of hits on the inside line. Nice backwards blocking from Blocking J, blocked by name, blocked by nature, managing to slow down Joe Mama as Tornado completes their first scoring pass.
Yeah, meanwhile, Joe Mama is struggling to get that initial pass. It's the cut track.
Picked up penalty, so it's now Power Jam Nottingham. Suffocate clearing the inside line for Tornado, so she can complete another scoring pass. That's 2 5-point passes on the board already for Nottingham. Strong start.
Yeah, meanwhile, Joe Mama still sat in the penalty box as one full lap of the track has now been completed by the pack.
Tornado receiving some absolutely delightful offense and working quite hard on our own, actually. We could see that pass didn't receive any offense. So, I talk about the nice offense and then they just stop. But really sort of working against those opposing blockers.
Yeah, Joe Mama returning to track, completes the initial pass with helmet cover firmly in hand and a brilliant shoulder hit to get through to complete the initial, but only 30 seconds left on the jam clock.
Tornado fully in control, not wanting to give an inch, gets her hips into the pack. Dare I say, hashtag butt first.
Hashtag butt first.
To pick up another full 5-point pass and call off the jam.
So that means an amazing start. 25 points picked up by Nottingham on the start, with the Northern Flights, Granite City, with 0.
So we've got Buckland moving off the line for Nottingham, and that's unfairly jamming for the Northern Fights. Buckland one blocker's pass, and she does. Unfairly throwing a big hit there, managed to take out herself and Nottingham's pivot.
Takes a knee to the inside line and completes the initial pass for Granite.
A full minute quicker than Joe Mama completed the initial pass in the previous jam.
And so that scoring pass picked up 4 points for Nottingham, taking them to 29, still holding Granite City to 0. So already very busy here in Stoke. Crowds starting to fill out. We have 16 games across this weekend deciding the Tier 2 and 3 WFTDA divisions of British Championships and Tier 3 of the MRBA sides.
Absolutely, and we've got our first lead jammer being assessed to Granite City. Fanny coming through on the inside line to pick up that lead. Gemma not far behind her, but Fanny calling the jam quick enough to prevent points on the board for Nottingham.
And there we go, the first points on the board for the Northern Flights. A modest 3.
Everyone's got to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
So we've got 26 minutes remaining of this first half. Some frenetic track repair there at the very last second.
Yeah, this floor reported slightly slippy, I see, but is a comfortable. So the end of the official timeout.
I have actually seen a sign on a door warning that this floor is weird.
This floor is weird. We like weird though.
Well, yeah,
and there we go, that's a lead picked up for Tornado. Last time Tornado was on track, picking up 25 points for Nottingham.
Already background on a scoring pass.
Very
Tornadoing her way through the pack. We're going to start the puns early for you folks. Yeah, through the pack very quickly. A quick hit it and quit it. 44 points because I saw the threes. 4 points to bring Nottingham up to 33.
And so that is now a 30 points differential between the two teams.
Buckland planting her toe stop on that radar jammer line. Bex rated, your foremost jammer, pushing forward against that tripod on display from Nottingham. A couple of people tumbling to the infield. Bex rated knock to the outfield. And Buckland has picked up lead.
Yeah, we're seeing pack advantage goes to Granite City with one of the blockers for Nottingham in the box.
It's Atkins Wright taking a seat.
Very short, after that quite long first jam, from the last four, we've seen quite short, sharp, quick called off, one scoring pass. So you can see now with the score updates on the screen, 4 points picked up by Nottingham. Taking them to 37 points, holding Granite City 2-3.
Pack advantage right now with Granite City works in their favour. 2 blockers from Nottingham in the box to 1 Granite City blocker. And we have had our first star pass of the game. Number 2, Damdria now in possession of the star for Nottingham. And both jammers racing to that depleted pack. Oh!
Whoa!
Beautiful
you
control.
Missed that.
Beautiful control from Unfairly. Taking a big solid chest-to-chest hit from Gem. And managing to maintain upright, inbound and legal status on 1 foot to call the jam.
Very smooth. So you can see there on the left-hand side of your screen that pack advantage still sits with Granite City. Nottingham with 1 blocker in the box as the 5 seconds is called. Oh, look, there we go. Just blending into the background. They are actually 1 apiece in the block box.
Oh, nice sideways skating there from Joe Mama, moving along a wafer thin space on the inside line to pick up a 2nd consecutive lead for Granite City.
Yeah, and there's the scoring pass, indicated no pass, no penalty as well. So a 3-point scoring pass for Joe Mama. Coming in now for the 2nd scoring pass, just sails around the inside, but taken to the inside at the last second and calls it off.
Yeah, Suffocate sacrificing herself there.
But gave away points as well, so 4 more for Nottingham. Joe Mama picking up 5 for the Northern Lights.
So we've got a full complement of blockers back on track, and we've got Buckland and Unfairly as your active jammers, and it's Unfairly through as lead. That's 3 in a row for Granite City.
Yeah, that's 3 in a row for Granite City, 4 overall apiece now for each team. Scores not quite reflecting it, with 41 playing 21. Playing 12 even. It's me palindroming the number in my head.
Granite managing to put 3 unanswered points on the board in that jam, calling the jam just quick enough to prevent Buckland from reaching the pack. Rocks and roll in the box, having picked up a penalty in that last jam, so we're back to a pack advantage for Granite City. Let's see if they can achieve a 4th consecutive lead jammer and take the lead of lead jams.
Lead of lead jams. Yeah, so again, pack advantage sits with Granite. You can see it's quite a cacophony inside the pack, but it is Nottingham that picks up lead, shutting out Granite from getting 4 for 4.
That was so close though.
Yeah.
And it is a new jammer on track for Granite, Lara Croft, trying to sort of show what she's got up against Gem Arg.
Notice that it's taken less than 25 seconds for the pack to do a full lap of the track.
Yeah.
They've taken the speed off now, but it was moving quite fluidly around.
Massive hit there from Greek Lightning, taking Lara. And again.
Oh, brilliantly well placed.
She's a jammer, not a plate. Greek Frightening, of course, skating for Team Greece earlier this year at the Roller Derby World Cup hosted in Manchester.
Just that, just that little event that was, about 6,000 people went to.
Was that how many it was?
That's how many it was. 6,000 people were there. It's amazing.
But we do have some equally impressive action on track. So close there. Gemard getting taken off on the outside of turn 4. There was some crossing over. Almost certainly, had she tried to re-enter the track, that would have been a cut. But she took the option to call the jam where she was, and that's a palindromic score.
Very nice. Just as you've spoken, 4 more were added to Nottingham's score to take them to 55. So 14 picked up in the jam. Just over 10 minutes gone so far of the first period as we go into the 10th jam.
We've got Tornado back on the line up against another fresh jammer, Mean Machina. But it is Tornado picking up the lead once more. Block and J holding Mean Machina. Oh, nice hit from Damdreer on the outside.
Yeah, there's a empty penalty box as well at the moment.
I tell you what, the defence on display from Nottingham here is absolutely sublime. What's quite interesting, they're working really well together, some really impressive walls, but we've also got a couple of sort of standout solo blockers. And it's quite, I think it's quite rare to see individual blockers being that effective. But while I've been flapping my gums, we had some penalties.
Yeah, so we saw a cut track being assessed on Nottingham right at the end of the jam. So it's a power jam start for Granite City.
Jam's still going.
Jam's still going. Jam didn't get called off. Apologies. It was because it was trying to be called off as a penalty. And I think there was a bit of confusion in the pack. Everyone sort of stopped for a second, looked round and went, oh no, we're still playing. So there are 30 seconds left on the jam.
Tornado back on track, unseen by the Granite City blockers, and straight through the pack to pick up another scoring pass.
Yeah, and we've seen Granite City get their highest point scoring jam so far. 10 points currently picked up for their score. But look at these 2 walls, nice strong triangles.
Deep reset from Granite. Tornado being taken off on that sort of apex between turns 3 and 4 and taken right back round to the top of turn 3.
Yeah, and so the jam actually reaching its natural conclusion. The full 2 minutes comes to an end with another 4 points thrown on to Granite score, taking them to 14 against Nottingham's 12. 67 plays 29.
Absolute credit to Granite in that jam, actually. Really came together and managed to hold Tornado at the end. She did pick up points, but she didn't complete the scoring pass. Okay, so we're back up. Buckland, speedy round the outside as lead. Joe Mama going one-on-one with Natastrophe and manages to get around the hips to complete the initial.
Well, blink and you miss it. The jam comes to an end. It's called off incredibly quickly as everyone returns to their benches. A big thank you to our sponsors, Roller Derby City, Just One Body, Double Threat Skates, and Radar, who are sponsoring the jam line this weekend.
And our MVP.
And our MVP as well.
Which will be selected by... Are we the Beliebers this weekend? Have we got a name?
I don't know. We've been asked to keep an eye out.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be making some decisions based on the amazing work that all of these fantastic athletes are doing this weekend.
Pack separating out very quickly there.
Athleticising in the best way at the moment is Gem Arg. She is your lead jammer. Rocks and roll picking up the penalty coming out of turn 2. Meanwhile, Gem taking a glancing shoulder, but completing her scoring pass nonetheless.
Yep, shutting Granite out of picking up anything. A big smile on the face from Granite City's Kaylee Kapowski, symbolising, we got 0 in that one. So the winner of this game, as a reminder, will go on tomorrow morning to play the winner of the game that's currently at half-time on the Just One Body track, Newcastle versus Hull, where Hull have taken lead. It's 100 points to 84 right now at the half-time period.
Of course, Hull and Nottingham placing second and first respectively in the same tier. Fantastic tier, to be fair.
It's a good tier.
It was a wonderful tier. So they may end up facing off once again. Tornado picking up lead, but taking longer than we have previously seen, nearly 30 seconds to get out of the pack. Nice takeoff by number 36, Fanny.
Tornado having a little bit of a tougher time trying to find some space through that wall of till. Nottingham doing a good job of keeping Granite City apart, but Tornado still, still having a difficulty trying to get through. Just as I've said that,
of course,
gets her on a scoring pass.
But that was some really nice two-work blocking between Fanny and Skeevy Wonder.
Yeah, and then we've just seen a star pass as well, so it looks like Joe Mama has taken the star, who is wearing pivot, and manages to get through to complete the initial pass.
Not before Rocks and Roll throws one last shoulder. So Tornado coming to the pack, gets knocked to the infield and decides to call the jam there and then. 11 points on the board in that jam, so not as high scoring as we have seen from Tornado, and I think that really reflects the sort of stepping up that Granite City did as blockers in that jam.
Yeah, so we've seen one jammel penalty on either side. Leeds are sitting comfortably with Nottingham, and just as I've said that, Nottingham's number 58, Buckland, picks up lead.
Unfairly taking some big hits as she tried to get her way through the pack. And again, that sort of control and strength, managing to stay not only in bounds but upright. That was some big contact. So Buckland's high jam rotation. That was her 5th jam up so far, and it's
and a 100% lead as well through, you know, in that time.
Beautiful.
Yeah, 5 for 5. Always nice to see.
And we're just moving into a brief official timeout. So brief that by the time I finish saying it, it's done.
The words hadn't even had a chance to leave your mouth. So Nottingham and Granite are lined up on the radar jam line.
Fanny jamming for Granite once again. Gem Arg in possession of the start for Nottingham. Picks herself up a sandwich before getting out of the pack to pick up lead.
Yep, and while Granite are going for the stash it approach, Wackery Binks holding star in hand and has lost use of access to the pivot as well, who goes off to the penalty box.
Yeah, I believe that was a blocking out of play. Pack was very loose, and it was that failure of reformation. And then the continued blocking.
Wackery Binks finally finds that space for the initial pass. Last line of defence comes out. But you can see that the out of play is called and the players return to the pack. Greek frightening. It just takes any opportunity to put a shoulder somewhere to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my gift to you.
It's a present, my shoulder into your ribs.
Ba-bam. So 14-point jam for Nottingham there, sees them cresting the century, 105 to 29, just under 11 minutes left of this first half.
Yeah. So the Tier 3 division that we are watching now, there was 2 divisions, a regional north and a regional south, and the top 2 teams in the north and the south each have proceeded to this weekend here at Players. The top 4 finishers from playoffs overall are promoted to Tier 2 at the end of this weekend, and then the bottom 2 teams from each division have been relegated to Tier 4. Stats and things.
We've got Tornado as your lead jammer over Unfairly. However, Unfairly is out of the pack and she's giving chase. Tornado may be the happiest jammer that ever lived.
Just smiles, smiles aplenty.
Yeah.
So one more point picked up on the scoring pass takes Nottingham to 6 for the jam, and we've seen a team timeout called by Granite.
So we've got the clock frozen on 9 minutes 48.
It's a good little opportunity to say a massive thanks to the officials on this game. We've got Nuts, Blockalypse Powell, MC, Razor, Tiny Tearaway, Sarcasm, Hissing Hellcat, Glenn Morangray, Kestrel, Refresh, Booker DeWitt, Ty,
Judge Tread, Cupid, Sherry Bobbins, Dragon's Den, Purple Pain and Sweet Buns.
Wonderful lot. And then you can see as well, here are the penalties. Ooh. Quite a clean game, really. We've seen 2 jammer penalties so far. One was very early on by Granite, where Kaylee Kapowski was sent off when she wasn't lead. And then Nottingham actually gave away a relinquished lead.
Yes.
I should say.
Nice use of relinquished.
Thank you.
So team timeout done and dusted. Our refs are refreshed. Read into that what you will. And we're off.
So a full 80-wheeler on the track as the jam begins. Everyone looks quite together at the moment, but the pack quite early eking out, allowing Granite, that timeout obviously doing something for them, to pick up lead. But Nottingham hot on the tail, only about quarter of a track behind.
Yeah, Mean Machine already, Mean Machine, my apologies, already into the pack. Did she call the jam quick enough? She did not.
She did not, in fact, denied herself the opportunity to pick up any points and gave away 4 points to Nottingham while the pivot for Granite went off to the box towards the end of the jam as well.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Have a nice sit down.
Sit down. Not a cup of tea, because hot liquids probably not best in the penalty box.
Have a think about what you've done.
Yeah. Gem back moving rapidly away from the line as she picks up lead. Meanwhile, Crash Call throwing the shoulder checks into Joe Mama. Oh, that was a
look, the whole apex taken up in the process as well. The track tape torn away with that big hit.
I mean, I doff my cap to Joe Mama, because that was 2 hits from Greek Frightening, 2 hits from Crash Call, followed by a hit from Greek Frightening, and finished off with a Damdria top.
Yeah. But actually, it was nicely executed for Joe Mama, because it was a no pass, no penalty situation, so she was able to come straight back onto the chain. Meanwhile, Nottingham thought they had a big recycling job on their hands.
Yeah. That jam was a bit full on. Some wonderfully speedy track repair.
And a very, very quick lead picked up by Nottingham. Tornado again.
Meanwhile, Bex rated, taken off on the inside of turn 2, sets herself back. Some aggressive offense from her pivot, unfortunately takes her out as well.
And this is Tornado, who's 6 for 7 now with leads, so a very high rotation and a high success rate.
And we've had ourselves a star pass unfairly now in possession of the start for Granite. Tornado looking for that, but first
entry point.
Oh, but it's going to be a cut.
Oh, and look at the hit, the sheer speed. Nottingham's number 21, Rocks and Roll, was showing chest, and no mercy was shown by Granite as coming in with full force.
Pucker up, going until the last possible millimetre to try and stop unfairly. However, she is through with a Grand Slam pass in what is now this power jam in favour of the Northern Fights.
Yeah, only the 3rd jammer penalty of the game so far. The pack's picking up a little bit of pace. Starting to eke out the front, last line of defence. Relinquish gets through on a 2nd Grand Slam.
Again, that last line of defence, Rocks and Roll that time. Obviously trying to kind of vanquish.
This is my return. This jammer's now standing in the box. Tornado primed, ready for return imminently, but I think she's going to get frozen in the box as the whistle brings an end to the jam. And I can just see
1 second.
1 second being signalled back to bench. So a power jam start, but a short one, albeit.
Just 1 second.
You can give it to me. So you might be able to hear in the background the atmosphere of the of Stoke Fenton Manor Sports Arena. There is 2 tracks side by side in the same hall, so we have 2 different pitches of whistles.
Yes.
So if you do hear the overspill of audio and you think, oh, there was a whistle call, but nothing happened.
Yeah.
They're using two different types of
Yes,
whistles.
I believe it's. I'm not sure which track is which. Unfortunately, my ears aren't that attuned.
No,
but I believe we've got Fox 40s and Fox Pearls.
We have.
Yes.
Yes.
We
for all of you, the officials at home are going, yes, I know
the whistle aficionados.
Yes.
I mean, there's probably somebody sat at home going, yes, I can pick those out distinctly. I don't know what everyone's having a problem with. But we all learnt from the earlier days of the British Championships playoffs back when we were in Newark, and we had that slight sound bleed as well in that venue. And I believe we were partway through day 1 when we kind of discovered that it was a serious issue. And I believe somebody basically just went to one of the vendors and bought a load of whistles. And kitted up the skating officials, and we kind of went from there. And it became considerably less of a problem.
So the
Fun fact.
team timeout comes to an end. This 1 second power jam start in the favour of Granite City as they line up on the radar jam line.
Some nice footwork on display from Fanny. However, Tornado cares not for the power jam start against her.
No, like, that is nay bother to me. I will still pick up lead. And Tornado, as a result, making it 7 for 8 so far in the period.
Picking up 3 points as she spun around to call off the jam.
Less than 5 minutes left of the first period.
Wow.
Of the second game of British Championship Playoffs 2018 here in Stoke.
Day 1 on track 2.
Day 1 on the Roller Derby City track.
So we've got Buckland and Joe Mama as your active jammers in this jam. Buckland being covered by a blocker there. Number 12, I do believe. Yep, so it was Kaylee Kapowski covering Buckland, but she did manage to get around her hips. Up on a scoring pass already now.
Very quick through the pack. Just there seems to be quite a lot of speed behind the pack on quite a few occasions.
Yes.
It's not fast,
Yeah.
but it's fluid.
Yes.
And that's what's giving the space away. Just, I think a touch more control would bring people together a bit more.
Yeah, the fluidity of the pack is making the blockers go full Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Give it away, give it away, give it away now. And actually, in the first 10 minutes of the games, what we saw was Granite started to get into a swing, picking up a few leads in a row, and then they've given that away. And Granite kind of just slipping behind, nearly 100 points differential between the two teams now.
So Gemma, 20 seconds to get out of the pack there, but she is your lead jammer. No, she's not. She is not. She has picked up a cut penalty. So now your lead jammer is unfairly. It is a power jam in favour of Northern Fights. And of course, we're talking about, oh, look at this points differential, and they're so far behind, and then they get lead.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity. A full Grand Slam picked up and just about to come in for a second scoring pass. Sweeping in for the offense, trying to create some space. Again, look, just a little bit of fluid movement to the pack, creates the gap to get through, pick up a second Grand Slam.
I feel that we need to give, obviously, your jammers are important in the picking up of the points, but I feel that some responsibility needs to go to Tequila Slammer on that last pass for giving that superb offense just enough space to get through the centre of the pack.
It's very kindly, we've just had dropped off a live penalty scoreboard tracker for us, so we can penalty scoreboard like their points. So penalty tracker boards.
Half time, could I trade these for points, please?
Yes. Do penalties mean prizes?
No.
No, they don't.
15 unanswered points in that jam for Granite City. Nice little bolster as we move towards the end of the first half.
And actually, I make that now three jammer penalties picked up for Nottingham so far in the first period. So just 1.5 minutes left.
Depending on how this runs, it could be our final jam of the half. We've got Bex rated as your foremost jammer. However, following in the slipstream of catastrophe, Tornado picks up lead jammer.
Tornado picks up lead, but decides to call it off instantly because seconds behind her, less than 20 feet, was Granite's jammer ready to try and catch up.
Do you know what I was just thinking as the Nottingham blockers started closer towards the pivot line that we've seen a lot of jammer line starts. I mean, I was like, Is this going to be the change? No, it's not.
No, it's not going to be the change.
And it's interesting because obviously you've got some jammers who prefer having the pack right on top of them, and some would rather you kind of stretch things out and give them a bit more space to work. But it looks like all of our jammers so far today have preferred that snug start, and Buckland in particular, who is your lead jammer in what will be
the last jam.
Presumptively.
I mean, both teams have official reviews to use.
This is very true. But we're not guaranteed another jam after an official review.
No, we are not here. So the period clock about to expire, and only just gaining initial pass, Granite denied the opportunity to put any more points on their board for the period, as Nottingham called it off to take their jam score to 9 and 141 for the period.
So that is half time. Good gravy.
It is. It brings a nice conclusion to the first 30 minutes of gameplay of Nottingham versus Granite. And a 83-point differential between the two teams right now. Meanwhile, on the Just One body track, I can see that Newcastle are currently on 110 points, but Hull still just slightly out in front with 127 points. So the winner of this game and that game will play each other tomorrow morning in game 9.
Oh, it's going to be good. Folks, feel free to jump over there and catch a little bit of time of that game between Newcastle and Hull. We've got about 14 minutes before we're back here for the conclusion of what has been a fantastic game so far. See you then. Well, we do hope that you enjoyed those adverts. I'll be honest, I'm slightly perplexed by all the animal heads. I feel like I've missed a joke. But yes, we are back. We're a minute and 40 away from starting the second half of this game. And we've been having a bit of a look at, I say we, our wonderful producer Scary Poppins has been having a bit of a look at social media. We've seen that a couple of people are getting a little bit involved. So if you would like to speak with us, what can they do, Brom?
You can use the hashtag British Champs, or you can tag at British Champs on Twitter.
Yes. On the Twitters.
On the Twitters. But we also, we were looking with Scary at some of the, just analysing some of the stats for the game and having a look at some things. So one of the things we noticed is that Nottingham are very clearly using a 3-jammer rotation.
Yeah.
And that's working incredibly well for them. You've got Tornado, Buckland and Gemar, just the three of them the whole way through, whereas Granite have used 8 jammers so far, with the heaviest of rotations being Joe Mummer and Unfairly, who have both done 5 apiece. But then also you've got another 6 in there as well that are all contributing to that. And we were just saying, we wonder whether that's the team finding their feet.
Yes.
Warming up the players to come back for a second half comeback. Wouldn't be unheard of.
It's quite a common thing for some teams to be a second half team.
Yeah. Well, Crime City Rollers at the recent WFTDA international playoffs were a second half team the entire way through the tournament. It's
you never quite know the tactical aim unless obviously you are an integral part of that team, which we are not for either of these teams. So we're right into the second half now. We've got Joe Mummer and Gem Arg as your active jammers. Joe Mummer, excuse me, experiencing a deep reset by Pucker Up as Gem picks up lead.
Yeah, the initial pass has been completed by Joe Mummer, as the scoring pass now for Gemar gets some hips past some people and picks up a single 1 point.
Juan.
1 point.
Juan. I was going to say, while we're on the mic, feel free to tweet us as well. So you can tweet me at Snoogans37. Got my phone on the table for official review reasons.
And I am at Mike Bromfield.
Hi. Yeah. So feel free to do that as well. Get the Brit Champs hashtag in there as well, though. So we're straight into a fresh jam. Tornado with some Matrix-esque style moves, getting through the pack, picking up lead. However, straight behind her, just about 10-15 feet, is Mean Machina. Tornado favouring the butt first.
Love the butt first.
Love it. Hashtag butt first, of course, coming from the MRDA Championships in Cwmbran, Wales last year.
Almost
We're going to keep
year
using
ago.
it. We're going to keep using it. Gosh, it is almost a year ago, isn't
Almost
it?
a year ago.
Good grief. I've gone full British.
You have.
Call by me, Governor.
So pack advantage sitting with Granite City. And who's that jamming, Snuggins?
That's Buckland jamming for Nottingham. Unfairly, currently being both jammers being recycled, actually. Looked like Buckland almost picked up a penalty right off the jammer line there, but she was required to yield. She yielded, got recycled, and currently we have lead jammer as Unfairly.
Yeah, Gemma trying to fight through. Again, fluid pack. Space is there.
Yeah.
But actually, if anything, speed working on the favour of Granite on this occasion.
And that favour lost to them with Unfairly headed to the penalty box for a back block. So Buckland now, although not lead, having ceded that, she is the sole jammer on track, and this is an opportunity for Nottingham to extend the lead they have in possession. Or not.
No, and we saw a low block, that slide on the outside just before turn one, so the jammer switcheroo, 45 seconds remaining of the jam.
So Unfairly back on track, taking a couple of glancing blows, but good recovery, managed to take out Pucker Up, which is no mean feat.
It isn't. Granite just watching, observing, going in for a quick bit of offense.
Unfairly aiming for Pucker Up again there. Puck just managing to knock Unfairly, it was the smallest clip off of wheels to the infield. But out of bounds, out of bounds.
Joe Mama, pivot for Granite off to the penalty box. And at the end of the jam, as it reaches its natural conclusion, 10 points picked up for Granite, 4 points for Nottingham. Meanwhile, on the just one body track, it is a 1 point game between the two teams.
How much time we got left?
Newcastle on 153, Hull on 154, with 6.5 minutes left on the period clock.
Exciting stuff.
Those teams want it. They want to go through to those semi-finals tomorrow. They want to see themselves get promoted.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Meanwhile, back here we've got Gem Arg with your lead jammer status.
Good
the
arguing.
pointy arms of our referee once again. And that loose pack working to her advantage, almost sort of slaloming her way through, if slaloming is an adjective in that sense.
Yeah, as we've seen, the star stash, less of a stash, more of a take it off the helmet and hold it in hand. Gets through to complete the initial pass for Granite. And the jam comes to an end with 10 points picked up by Nottingham. Big thank you to our sponsors, Roller Derby City, Just One Body, Double Threat Skates, and Radar, as well as our partners Capital Badges, Event Medical Services and Ruby Fury, and you can get 10% off your first order if you click through via the British Champs website.
Nice.
Very nice. Thanks, Ruby Fury.
Very nice. So we're back to it. And I've just heard an awful lot of noise from the one body track, so I think we might have had a lead change. But right now, we've got a penalty being assessed to Mean Machina, So we're back in Power Jam territory for Nottingham, and Tormado's going to run it. Was I right, Brom?
Hull just got lead with when they were 1 point ahead. But look, our two teams came to a complete standstill, like a paused moment in time, awaiting the incoming of Tornado.
That frozen moment just again.
Jammer's now standing in the box, and Granite's Jammer returns to track.
Main machine are back on it.
But yet to complete that initial pass.
Yeah, 50 seconds left of the jam as Tornado weaves her way through, ping-ponging, and finally taking a big hit from Unfairly, which takes her off and resets her. So that the noise that you could hear from that previous jam from the other track. Hull had lead, they got 14 points to nothing, so they've stretched that out. And it's whether they can maintain that now going into the last few minutes of the game.
Yeah, last 3 minutes. But Nottingham now getting with that 19-point jam, which Tornado got 25 in the first jam of the game, so responding in the second period with 19 points, sees them get more than 110, gets them 110 points ahead of Granite City.
Buckland picking up lead over Bex Rated. Bex Rated still looking to complete her initial as Buckland sneaks around the outside to complete her first Grand Slam pass. Bex Rated being recycled all the way back by Crash Call over Fanny, taking Crash Call off track and saying, you know, just make some space for you here.
After you. Buckland comes in on a third scoring pass, sails through.
And we've had ourselves a star pass. Tequila Slammer was in possession of the start, however that jam has been called.
So pack advantage is even Stevens, as both teams have one blocker apiece in the penalty box. Nottingham is without pivot as a result, as we start jam 7 of the second period at British Champs in Stoke.
Jam 7 of the second half. Gem Arg coming through the pack, however, round the inside line, Unfairly is just about 10 feet behind her.
Yeah, and as a result, the pack is moving. So it's definitely 1 point. And actually, we're seeing a slightly different approach. And Gemma deciding to run the jam. It has worked in her favour though, because a power jam as Unfairly goes to the penalty box.
The box filling up rapidly. So we've got 2 blockers and the jammer in the box for Granite City. The pivot has been assessed a penalty, however, because the box is full, she's had to return to track. So when there is available space, she will be sent back to the box, i.e. now. So we've got just 3 blockers left on track.
And they're all now being released as well, but now pivot for Granite's being told you can come and have a sit down because we've got space. Well, that was a very busy, heavy penalty-ridden jam. Unfairly going to the penalty box for a cut track. Joe Mummer also picking up a cut in that jam as well, taking Joe Mummer now to 5 penalties.
And looks like we've got a team timeout being called by the Northern Fights. So we're going to take a brief moment. Can you see the other track, Brom?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wonder if we could take a quick look at those penalties.
They are starting to rack up, aren't they?
They are. I was just kind of observing that Joe Mummer, who was originally on the heavy rotation jamming for Granite in the first period, so far in the second period has only jammed once, and I wonder whether that's because of the creeping penalties.
Yes.
But Joe Mama also, on top of heavy jam rotation, also pivoting a lot as well.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Northern Fights skating slightly shorter than Nottingham, and it looks like we have got an official review in play. I do believe it's been called by...
I'm just trying to have a look. Oh, so it's been called by Granite.
So we have got those penalties on the board for you. So as we can see, we've mentioned Joe Mama is up on 5, the only person on 5 so far. Nottingham have a more even spread of penalties. I kind of feel like we're doing a weather show. More even spread of penalties in the grey. So more people with penalties, but not as many penalties, if that makes sense.
So Greek Frightening, just a couple of forearms, but on heavy rotation, so quite a clean game overall. Tornado, a couple of cuts and a misconduct penalty.
I do believe that was that slide.
That slide. Less cha-cha, more penalty box. And then Joe Mama, that cut track, illegal contact, low block.
And I mean, luckily, unfairly, again, very high rotation, just the 2 penalties so far. And again, unfairly, another one who's been reasonably high jam rotation and also high pivot rotation.
So, we can tell you now, that's interesting. So over on the Just One Body track, I observed that the game was brought to an end and there was a final score brought up on the scoreboard.
Right.
And it was 172 to Newcastle, 174 to Hull.
Ooh.
However, in the last 20 seconds, 1 more second has been put on the scoreboard, and the scores have changed to 167 Newcastle, 174 to Hull. So it looks like over on that track we're going to see 1 more jam. And is that, you say there's an official review going on that track as well? So there's an official review from the team in black.
And it's Newcastle skating in black today.
So we've got 2 official reviews going on, and everyone just...
it's all
going.
going.
A good start. First game of British Champs 2018 playoffs over Just One Body. Second over here, and I'm going to need to sit down after this.
I mean, we are seated. Sorry. Sometimes it's just the timing,
it's
isn't
just
it?
the subtlety at which you just went, you are seated.
We are seated. We will... I do have an inside line downstairs who is going to try and feed us the information about the official review.
Yep.
So as and when we're able to get that to you folks, we will. Maybe a little while, but if it comes, it comes. But we are continuing with the game. So we've got Tornado as your lead jammer. Fanny pushing hard against the back of the pack.
Whatever the outcome, hopefully we will be messaged it, but whatever the outcome was, we can see that the official review has not been retained.
Yes.
Judging by the
scoreboard. Yeah.
So 2 points picked up by Granite, 4 points picked up by Nottingham. That's quite a lot of cheering.
I should imagine that you can probably hear that from our headset mics, folks. That's quite a lot of cheering.
It is, and actually it has filled out very quickly, considering it is very early on in the day. It's just 11:30 on a casual Saturday. This is no casual Saturday. This is British Champs Playoffs weekend.
This is British Champs Playoffs weekend. Hot diggity dog.
Get yourself down here.
Tickets are still available on the door if you're thinking about it.
They are.
So towards the end of the jam that we had on this track right here, looks like a jammer penalty was issued.
Yep.
So we're going to start with a power jam for Nottingham. Buckland starting on that line, that radar line, and Fanny starting in the box.
Yeah, Buckland has jammed 10 times overall, 11 times, sorry, this will be the 11th overall this game, and has got 10 of those as leads. So we're seeing Buckland fighting now for the scoring pass. Up the front of the pack, approaching turn 3. Granite have completely taken the speed off.
Beautifully done.
Yeah, very nice. Eventually released, gets through to pick up a full 5, because at the back, Fanny is now back on track and is yet to get that initial.
So, I'll wait. We've got a full wall of Granite. Nice. Very nice.
Buckland puts a little bit of speed behind them, actually pushes them, uses the roll to get through, picks up another 4 points to take the jam to 13. 45 seconds left on the jam. And both are now scoring. So Nottingham, with that kind of big differential they've got, saying, no, we'll run it for a little bit. We're happy to give a few away.
So, folks, from the One Life, One Body track, we can confirm your official final scores. Newcastle 167, Hull 174.
Oh, amazing. So we know tomorrow morning in the Tier 3 WFTDA side semi-final that one of the teams will be Hull. The other will be the winner of this game, which 15 minutes left on the clock. This is certainly Nottingham's game so far.
Yes. I know that I would... Oh! Greek Frightening with that killer hit again. I'm just going to interrupt myself straight off because it's... Greek Frightening is a devastating blocker.
I too, in admiration for the skill Greek Frightening's displaying.
And I mean, she's a skater that's overcome quite a lot as well. Over the last 3 or 4 years, has broken both her legs.
Oh.
Not long, early last year, not long after she'd been voted as captain for Nottingham Roller Girls A team, broke her left ankle, I believe, and that was also around the time that she was accepted as a skater for Team Greece ahead of World Cup earlier this year, and basically worked incredibly hard, continued to attend training, captained essentially from the bench. She was bench staff for games. And she managed to get herself back fighting fit in time for the World Cup. Had a phenomenal time and continue. I believe she is still captain to this day of Nottingham Roller Girls, and is absolutely showing her worth here this weekend.
So that's Tornado that picked up lead for Nottingham. Pack moves around 2 with a little bit of pace. A big recycle on Lara Croft.
Atkins Riot being a right pain in the backside. She does it well, to be fair.
And we're seeing that Granite. We've seen a successful star pass on the Granite side. So Unfairly now just about to don the helmet cover. Pivot for Nottingham is shut in the box, put on ice as the jam comes to an end. So 180 points now sat between the two teams.
Just under 14 minutes remaining. And next up on this track at 12:30, you will get to see the other Tier 3 WFTDA side quarterfinal, which will see North Wales taking on Wiltshire. I think, again, going to be another fantastic game.
Yeah, meanwhile, on the Just One Body track at midday, you can see the other quarterfinal for the Tier 3 WFTDA side, which will see Cambridge take on Riot City.
Oh. And of course, the winners of those two games will play off tomorrow morning at 9 AM on the Just One Body track.
9 AM.
Slightly earlier start than today, but that is partly so that we can get our 3 finals of the day all onto our wonderful Roller Derby City track here, which will, of course, additionally be on the Beeb.
BBC Sport. It's very exciting.
If you've not heard the word, it's not Bird, it's BBC. You will be able to hear some of us tomorrow on BBC iPlayer for the Tier 3 MRDA side final and both the Tier 3 and Tier 2 WFTDA side final.
Yeah, and that will be on BBC Sport online and connected TVs. So, of course, if you're watching this, you have purchased yourself a pass, and it will be the same broadcast.
Yes, yeah.
However, one will have a BBC Sport logo in the corner, and it's all very exciting.
It's gonna be great. Anyway, back to the game at hand. I'm sorry, we're getting carried away. So we have lead gemmer.
Lead gemmer.
Gem Haag is your lead jammer for Nottingham.
I like that, lead gemmer. Well, she is gem.
If we end up with 2 gemmers jamming, it's the lead gemmer. I think that's fair. Calls off the jam. 9 points in the bag for Nottingham on that pass. Just under 12 minutes remaining. 76 to Granite City. 268 to Nottingham. And we have an empty penalty box. I'm only saying it quietly. Fanny and Tornado are your jammers.
Tornado quickly getting out, stretches out Granite's pack. They come back, they're going in for an offence. Granite lose their pivot to the penalty box. Didn't just lose them randomly,
just wandered off
into a black hole somewhere.
Yeah, it's Mean Machina in the box. Meanwhile, Fanny with jammer cover in hand was potentially looking for that star pass. Hopefully now just looking to stash it and run. The old dine and dash. The old jam and stash, there we go. Tornado's just racking up the passes, 3 scoring passes so far. Mean Machina back on track, and Fanny still with cover in hand, blocking Jay just with a gentle drive off track to recycle Fanny. Pucker up, picking up a low block penalty. Going to take a seat in the box. That's 1 less blocker to contend with for Fanny, who managed to take out Atkins Riot to complete her initial pass. Tornado having to work at that scoring pass there. But that's another 25 on the board. 29, that is now our highest scoring jam of the game. Tornado beating her PB.
Wow. Since that first jam of the period, of the game, beats it by 4 points. And just inches away from sapping the 3rd century.
Whoop-ow. No doubt Very Cherry in-house is waiting with anticipation to slap that century.
Yeah, and with Buckland picking up lead for Nottingham, there is a likelihood that that may happen after the next scoring pass.
However, Jo Mama is out. She is chasing, closing the gap, but not quite quick enough to put points on the board. Oh, and not enough points.
Just 2 points sitting precariously before the 300.
Speaking of 300, Greek front is back up to block. We've got 8.5 minutes left of this game, and we've got Lara Croft and Gem Arag as your jammers. Gem round the outside is your lead. Meanwhile, Croft is caught up against pucker up. Oh, that's a solid 3-wall run.
It is. Look at that, nice and tight. It's fluid, it can move around across track nicely. A little bit of offense though just creates the space needed to get the initial, while Gemma with that scoring pass slaps the triple century. Very short and sweet. Once again, just a massive thanks to Roller Derby City, Just One Body, Double Threat Skates, Radar, Capital Badges, Event Medical Service, and Ruby Fury.
Thank you all very much for the contributions you've made this weekend, allowing this wonderful event to happen, the culmination of a year of superb roller derby up and down the country.
So just observe that it's now 4 jams in a row that Nottingham have started a jam with 1 blocker in the box.
Yeah.
There's just always constantly been someone sat there.
Yes.
Just 1 down.
Yeah.
But it isn't affecting their gameplay right now.
No, it's almost as if, I mean, obviously we saw that beautiful 3-wall in the previous jam. You've got to wonder sort of their training techniques and stuff. Do they run training sessions? Do they run jams short so that they are potentially prepared for
that eventuality,
yeah.
which will always occur.
Yes.
You'll always
you could
find
be
yourself.
the best skater in the world. You're still going to pick up penalties.
Yep.
It's the way of the game.
Although now saying that, we have the full 80 wheels. We're making contact with the floor right now. Everyone's in play for both teams. As Buckland's back, gets through, picks up lead for Nottingham.
Yeah, Buckland breaking through that 2-wall at the front. Looks like we might be attempting some star pass action. Very nice work by Atkins right at the front. 2-3-6, or 2-3-0, my apologies, Lara Croft. Almost sort of a reverse goat, was right loose at the front of the pack to try and shut down Buckland. However, she was joined by the Atkins right, who went, no, leave her alone, and just knocked her to the inside. I'm sorry, I just put my elbow in your ribs.
That's okay, no, that's fine. You were just,
it was
a demonstration.
Another 10 points on the board, brings it up to 3-16 for Nottingham Roll Derby, 80 to Granite City, 5.5 minutes. Jam is on. Pensive start. Gemarg and Joe Mama kind of feeling each other out, kind of seeing who's going where. And it is Gem as lead. Whoa! Joe Mama dishing out some of the hurting that she's had so far this game. Massive hit to Great Frightening, taking her off her skates.
Very smooth.
Just noticed a brief moment of some of our outside pack refs switching positions, little low 5.
Just like casual.
Because ultimately, as official and as serious as our officials are, they do this because they enjoy it as well.
Yeah, just like we do. We all do.
We're just louder about it.
Yeah, talk a lot more about it. It's pack advantage sitting with Nottingham. 2 in the box, you can see there for Granite, 1 for Nottingham. Out of plays called, and there we go, and actually off to the box as well for blocking out
and that's all of Granite's blockers off track briefly there, as they reported to the box and then were asked to return to track.
Yeah, and Tornado making light work of Granite's blockers going through. Comes in on a second scoring pass.
May Machina receiving a little bit of offense from the blockers that are still on track. She does have the helmet cover in her hand. And that was a smooth star pass.
Very smooth. It
Very
was slick.
subtle.
Unfortunately, a knee taken in the
Yeah.
process. The actual pass itself, incredibly slick. And then that reform around from Nottingham, meaning that what could have been a nice, smooth initial pass led to now a deep recycle.
Unfairly taking some big hits there. Very deep reset by Suffocate. Suffocate with her fingers in many pies, did the reset, reformed, took a blocker off, just chilling.
It's now been 1 minute 40. There we go, 1 minute 40 it took for Granite to get the initial pass. Great work from Nottingham holding on to Granite's jammer and then pivot as well.
Absolutely fantastic. And after all that work, Nottingham then calling the jam.
Yeah.
It's got to be devastating as a jammer.
It's like,
isn't it?
yeah, we finally got out.
No.
Not today, you won't.
Denied.
Shut down. So make sure you don't go anywhere as well. We might have 2 minutes left on the period clock, but after the game, we're going to bring you interviews with, I believe, both sides of the track as well. Obviously, one of the teams, and unfortunately at the moment, might be Granite City. Very likely to see them go home. It will be their only game this weekend if they lose. And then Nottingham making their way through the bracket.
Absolutely, and that's the same for the first 4 games this weekend. So Newcastle now are also done, and the losing teams between North Wales and Wiltshire and Cambridge and Wright City, the teams that
lose those games, go home.
Will be done for the weekend.
Go home. Well, either go home or enjoy a weekend of wonderful roller.
Go home or go hard.
Yeah. Apparently that was Hull's approach this morning.
Absolutely. They had no plans of going home.
So just a minute left on the clock. Everyone's on track. And we have Gemma and Fanny going skate to skate.
Oh, massive reset. Beautiful work by Tequila Slammer. However,
yeah, despite the recycle, Gemma gets through to pick up lead.
There was the reset, but there wasn't the reformation.
No. Ooh. I like that.
Thanks.
All reset, no reformation.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yep. Someone talk to Royal Derby City. I'm sure they'll slogan that now.
Slams.
Slams. And so we only have 15 seconds left on the clock, and a timeout was called by, I'm just looking at the officials to see where that's being signalled to. Timeout called by Nottingham.
Looks like they want one last jam.
Yeah. I mean, when they're so far ahead, they could have just taken it. They could have carried on, but they're looking to have a rest.
I think they're looking for the differential.
Oh, is it? Looking for the increased differential.
Yeah.
I wonder if Granite will respond to a timeout with a timeout though, because they've still got one there that they can use. There's still an official review up for grabs as well. I mean, we could sit here for another 3 minutes.
Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, I know obviously they are considerably out in the lead, and we mentioned about the difference. But when we look at stuff like flat track stats, the points differences, they do count. It will count towards rankings. So being able to rack up even another 15, 20 points could bump them a couple of places.
Yeah, points mean prizes.
Points do mean prizes.
And in the case of British Championships Playoffs 2018, could mean a promotion. And
exactly.
Going up the tiers.
Exactly.
And there is some incredibly deserving teams that are playing this weekend that have worked hard over the last couple of seasons to work their way through each of the divisions.
Absolutely.
But going into what is the last jam of the game, we see Tornado very quickly picking up lead. Joe Mama on the line. We are going to finish the game exactly how we started it, with these two skaters going toe-to-toe.
But nowhere near as big a jam as it was to start. Tornado picking up the 4 and calling it. preventing that score, so ending it as a scoreless jam for Granite. We will, of course, wait for the official final score, but the points as they sit at the moment means that tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. we will see a rematch of earlier this season. Nottingham Roller Girls will face off once more against Hull's Angels Roller Derby for that place in the final.
So who won that game when they played before? When was this? I missed this one.
It was earlier this year. It was during the British Championship season, obviously. Nottingham won. Nottingham came out of Tier 3 this season undefeated.
Wow.
Yes.
And that what a way to go into the playoffs weekend.
Yeah.
And we can. Sorry, I was going to speak slightly prematurely then and say that it's final score, but it's still unofficial at the moment.
This gap here, I think. In this space here, yeah.
So,
sorry, go on.
I was going to say, although obviously the score relatively unbalanced, still a fantastic game.
Absolutely. And actually, Granite. I think what Granite lost was not controlling the speed.
Yes.
And just creating those gaps. I'm sure in reflection there'll be other things that they analyse, but we're sat on quite a good observation point. We're high up on a balcony at the moment, looking down on the track, and so you kind of do get that.
We're kind of up in the crow's nest, aren't we?
Crow's nest. That's a great way of describing it. So in just a couple of minutes' time, the wonderful Roller Polar Bear, I believe, is going to be interviewing a member of each team. Granite will be sad to, I imagine, go home away from this weekend, considering the distance they've travelled to join us here in Stoke as well. So we are moments away from that interview. That was quick.
It was.
It's
very quick.
Ran up here.
So we're going to hand over to Roller Polar Bear and our wonderful skaters who are going to be interviewed. Folks up in St Nugans.
Yeah,
you've been Brom.
I've been Brom. Sorry, I was miles away. I was just looking at those penalties at the end of the game. So a massive thank you for joining us here. Coming up very shortly, you're going to see North Wales take on Wiltshire on the Roller Derby City track, and then kicking off in just a couple of minutes, Cambridge taking on Riot City, the last two Tier 3 WFTDA side quarter-final games.